You already know the cycle. You find a dark patch behind the bathroom vanity or along the basement wall. You call someone. They show up, confirm what you already knew, and hand you an invoice. The national average for mold remediation sits around $2,200. For a bad crawl space or finished basement, it can reach $30,000. You pay it. They leave. And then it comes back. It always comes back. What if a $2 mineral compound from the grocery store, documented as a fungicide since the 1870s, could prevent that cycle entirely? And what if a billion-dollar remediation industry had no financial reason to ever mention it? How the money moves. Before we get to the solution, you need to understand why the problem keeps repeating. When you find mold, the remediation crew arrives with plastic sheeting, negative air pressure machines, and HEPA scrubbers. They remove the existing colony, bag the debris, and leave. They do not treat anything to resist future growth. That is not a flaw in the service. That is the business model. Removing mold and preventing mold are two entirely different revenue streams, and only one of them keeps customers coming back. Then there is bleach. Bleach on mold is still the default recommendation from contractors, home inspectors, and most consumer-facing advice online. But anyone who has tried it knows what happens. The stain fades for a week, maybe two, then the discoloration returns, usually darker than before. There is a straightforward chemical reason for that. What you see on the wall is only the fruiting body. The actual organism lives below the surface, sending thread-like structures called hyphae deep into drywall, wood, and grout. Bleach is sodium hypochlorite in water. The chlorine component gets consumed almost instantly by organic matter at the top layer and never reaches the hyphae. But the water does. So when you spray bleach on moldy drywall, you are sterilizing the surface while delivering moisture straight to the root network. You are feeding it. The EPA acknowledged this years ago. Their official cleanup guidance states that bleach is not recommended as a routine practice. That language never made it onto the labels at Home Depot, where bleach-based sprays still fill an entire shelf section. What actually works? This is where it gets interesting. Borax, sodium tetrabrate decahydrate, a naturally occurring mineral that people have been using to protect wood from rot since the 1870s. When dissolved in water, it creates an alkaline solution with a pH around 9.3. That matters because most fungal species grow best in acidic to neutral conditions between pH 4 and 6. At pH 9, you are well outside the range where the vast majority of indoor mold thrives. But the pH is only part of the story. Boron compounds interfere directly with fungal metabolism, disrupting enzyme function and inhibiting spore germination. Decades of peer-reviewed research from the USDA Forest Products Laboratory backs this up. Now, this channel does not do miracle cures. Here is the honest version. The research found that borate compounds alone are devastating against wood decay fungi, the organisms that destroy structural lumber. Against common indoor species like Aspergillus and Penicillium, borates alone showed weaker results. Combining borates with fatty acid compounds improved performance significantly against those organisms. So Bora-X is not a magic wand. What it is, and what the industry never tells you, is one of the most effective and cheapest preventive treatments available for the wood and porous materials in your home. You treat the lumber, the joists, the sheathing, and you make those materials hostile to fungal colonization before it ever starts. That distinction between prevention and remediation is exactly where the money hides. Why nobody told you. The International Residential Code governs how homes are built across most of the United States. It covers vapor barriers, crawl space ventilation, flashing, drainage planes, and water-resistive barriers in considerable detail. There is not a single line recommending borate application as a preventive measure against fungal growth. Not one. Building codes are developed by the International Code Council. The development committees that draft the actual language include heavy representation from material manufacturers and contractor trade groups. A 2019 investigation revealed that the National Association of Home Builders held a written agreement guaranteeing 4 of 11 seats on the committee that writes the residential code. The people who shape the rules profit from expensive recurring solutions. Then there is the certification pipeline. The IICRC, the Institute of Inspection, Cleaning and Restoration Certification, publishes the standard reference document for most insurance-covered remediation work. It requires containment, air scrubbers, HEPA filtration, and professional-grade treatments. No one in that ecosystem has any incentive to tell a homeowner that a $2 box from the laundry aisle could prevent the problem their entire business exists to solve. Borax is not on anyone's marketing plan, not because it failed, because it was never worth anyone's money to promote. The part that should really bother you. Lumber treated with this exact chemistry is already used in construction every single day. Boracare, made by Nisus Corporation, is a borate-based wood preservative used by pest control professionals across the country for termite and decay prevention. It works. It is approved. A 1-gallon jug of concentrate runs about $80 to $100. The active ingredient is disodium octaborate tetrahydrate, a refined borate compound. The same mineral family as the borax, sitting in the laundry aisle for $2.47. You are already paying for this chemistry in commercial products. You are just paying 50 times more for it. The honest picture. 2 caveats worth knowing. First, a topical application does not penetrate wood the way pressure-treated lumber does. For deep, permanent protection, you need a glycol-based carrier like the commercial products use. Second, borax is water-soluble. In areas with active water intrusion, the compound will wash away over time. Fix the water problem first. The borax protects what is already dry. On safety, borax has low acute toxicity, comparable to table salt, but the European Union classifies it as a reproductive toxicant at high, sustained exposure levels. For a one-time application with basic precautions, the risk is minimal. Keep it away from food preparation areas, avoid inhaling the dry powder, and store it out of reach of children and pets. Borate wood preservation has been in the scientific literature for over 150 years. The USDA has published extensively on it. Commercial products already use it, but building codes never mention it for homeowners. The remediation industry has no reason to promote it. Big box stores would rather sell you a $6 bottle of bleach that guarantees you will be back next month for another one. A simple compound with documented science behind it, buried under layers of industry that profit from the complicated version.